Making a batch of homemade granola is easy. All you need are a few simple pantry items, plus I'll show you fun ways to customize the flavor. What's the best oats to use for granola? Old-fashioned rolled oats. The large flakes hold their shape while baking. You can even buy thick cut versions if you like a really chewy texture. Plus, they don't get immediately soggy when you pour on some milk or add it to yogurt. Avoid using instant or quick cooking oats. They've been steamed longer, so when you start to add the liquid ingredients to make the granola, it's gonna get really mushy and not hold its shape in the oven. Also, make sure that you avoid steel cut oats. They're just oat groats that have been chopped up, so they're gonna have a really hard texture when baked. You only need 3 main ingredients to make granola: old-fashioned rolled oats, a sweetener, and some fat or oil. Here's the ratio that I use: 5 cups of oats, a half a cup of sweetener, and a half a cup of oil. Using a 1-to-1 ratio of sweetener and fat helps you scale the recipe up or down. Just make sure there's enough to coat the oats and any mix-ins. Using a liquid sweetener like pure maple syrup or honey is going to easily coat the oats. The type that you choose is based on your preference, but I really like the molasses and caramel notes that pure maple syrup adds. As the granola cooks, the liquid is going to start to evaporate, making the oats really crispy on the surface. For a sweeter granola, add 1 to 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, brown sugar, or even coconut sugar to the mix. Adding a little bit of fat to the granola is going to ensure that it gets super crispy. Any type of neutral tasting oil or fat can be used. Make sure it has a moderate smoke point above 325 degrees. My top picks are avocado oil, light olive oil, coconut oil, or vegetable oil. If you want to add some interesting mix-ins, use about 3 cups. You're not going to want to miss out on my secrets for making the most super crunchy granola. To a large bowl, add a half a cup of maple syrup, a half teaspoon of kosher salt to bump up the flavor, a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon for warm spices. You're really going to smell this as it's baking. And a 1/4 teaspoon of grated nutmeg. Whisk it all together. Whisk in a half a cup of avocado oil until thickened. Add in 5 cups of rolled oats, 1½ cups of whole raw almonds, and a half cup of roasted pepitas, pumpkin seeds. Stir it all together. Make sure to mix the ingredients until they're evenly coated. You don't want any dried oats or it's gonna get really toasty in the oven. Line a large baking sheet with parchment paper to prevent sticking. Add the granola mixture to the pan. Spread into an even 1/2 inch thickness. Make sure to press down and compress the oat mixture together. This will give really nice big clusters of granola after baking. Making homemade granola gives you the opportunity to control the size of the clusters. By compressing it down, you're packing everything firmly together so that the sugar sticks better to the oats. Bake the granola at 325 degrees, which is a moderate temperature, so that the oats don't burn. We're going to bake for 40 to 45 minutes, rotating halfway through. And remember, no stirring. Wow, I wish you could smell this. The warm spices, the nuts, and the caramelized sugars on the granola smell incredible. The granola is not going to be completely crispy when you take it out of the oven, but the surface should feel dry. Let the granola cool on the sheet pan for about 45 minutes to an hour. This is going to allow the sugars to harden so you get that crispy, crackly crunch. The granola has cooled completely. As you can see, you have these nice big clusters. The oats are dry and crispy and ready to eat. You can use a spoon to just break it up, but just remember, the more you stir, the smaller the clusters are going to get. So if you like big chunks, you can even use your hands to break it up. Whoa! If you leave the clusters like this, they make great snacks, kind of like granola bars. If you're going to add mix-ins like dried fruit or chocolate chips, now's the time. I'm going to sprinkle in 1 cup of dried cranberries, dried pineapple, chopped apricots, or raisins are also really great additions. I wait to add the dried fruit because I don't want it to get really hard in the oven. Now you're ready to eat. Here are some really fun ways to customize your granola. Add in some crunchy nuts. Sliced or whole almonds, walnuts, peanuts, sprinkle on some coconut, cashews, or pecans. Use 1 to 1.5 cups of any combination total. There are so many different ways to spice up your granola. Go sweet with cinnamon, nutmeg, or cardamom, and even ginger. Add in some curry powder for some depth and earthiness, or even turmeric for a pop of yellow color, or make it a little bit spicy with chili powder and a little bit of black pepper. Use half to 1 teaspoon of the spice mix. Sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. Use about 1/2 cup of these bulkier items. Flax seeds or chia seeds. Use 1 to 4 tablespoons. For a natural bump in sweetness, add in some dried fruit. Raisins, cranberries, chopped up apricot, even pineapple or papaya make great additions. Use a 1/2 to 1 cup of dried fruit mixed in at the end. Chocolate. You can use your favorite kind, whether it's dark, semi-sweet, or milk, or white chocolate chips. You can even add crunchy cocoa nibs. Mix in 1/4 to 1/2 cup once the granola is cooled. For a super chocolatey flavor, mix in 1/4 to 1/3 cup of cocoa powder before you start baking. Making a big batch of granola is great for meal prep. My recipe makes 9 cups, so you're going to have plenty to enjoy throughout the week. I like to use an airtight container. This is going to prevent moisture from coming in so that the granola stays super crunchy. Stored at room temperature, the granola stays fresh for about 2 weeks, or if you put it in the freezer, 1 month. If you'd like to portion out your granola, add it to a jar. A 1/2 pint size, about 8 ounces. A serving size is about 1/2 cup. Just add the lid on and grab it when you're ready for a snack or a breakfast. The granola also makes for great edible gifts. Fill up the jar with the granola, either a 1/2 pint or a full pint. Place the lid on top, and then I like to add a really pretty string to tie around. Nothing says I love you like a homemade treat. Now that you know how to make the perfect batch of granola, what toppings and mix-ins would you add? Let me know in the comments below. For the full recipe and instructions, check out my website, jessicagavin.com. See you in the next video.